Just like that. There we are.
Just like that. Countdown's off, man. So
Yeah,
primitive
buddy.
living.
Primitive living off the grid. There's a lot of talk about that these days, isn't there?
Yeah, people want to go live off the grid. I don't know. I like my Taco Bell every now and then. I don't know.
I don't know. Nowadays, I've heard a lot about it in the last 10 years or so about people just wanting to get off the grid. Sometimes I'm tempted to do that myself. Just find me a holler somewhere and make me a garden, raise me some food, and get at it.
Get away from the hustle and bustle of the high speed life, right? And chill out, right?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight, the Hensley Settlement, right?
There we go. All right, but we'll be ready, or you get ready, I guess, if you're watching here in a few seconds.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to History Nuts. I'm Russ Carson Jr., the founder of Family Tree Nuts. At Family Tree Nuts, we build family trees for people, and we produce videos at historic locations and videos that help to honor your ancestors.
I'm Jameson Cable, founder of the Kentucky History Podcast, where we talk about anything Kentucky history, events, people. If it has to do with Kentucky, we're going to discuss it.
And we've teamed up together to bring you History Nuts.
History Nuts is a live show where we talk about, you guessed it, history.
Right. History seems to be less and less to people today, but we are trying to do everything we can to keep it alive.
Absolutely. History is a passion of ours for sure, but it connects to you. Russ, tell us about the best part of the show.
You can join in. You can comment and ask questions live.
We've got a great topic today, and we know you're going to enjoy this episode of
History Nuts.
And we're back. So we better tell, hey, everybody, this is Colonel Carson with Family Tree Nuts and
Jameson Cable, Kentucky History Podcast.
We better tell them what we're doing here. Remember, last week was the first time that we produced our own show without a producer. I ran the show, made all kinds of mistakes. It was goofed up. Tonight,
I'm running the show, ready to make a bunch of mistakes and hopefully get to the end.
Yeah, bear with us on on a few of those things. I think we worked out most of the kinks last time, but should go pretty smooth. But yeah, Tracy says, howdy guys. I appreciate you making that post there on Family Tree Nuts page. I appreciate that. And yeah, let's get the preliminaries out of the way, right? We're going to talk about the Hensley Settlement, but make sure you check this out. Subscribe to our YouTube channels.
Yeah, subscribe to Family Tree Nuts. Get those subscribers up. Subscribe to the Kentucky History Channel. 50 subscribers away from 1,000. So we
got to get that, man. We got to get you there. We got to get it there for sure. Okay. That's important once you hit that 1,000. It really is. But tonight I keep remembering all these preliminaries we got to talk of. Somebody made a comment that, well, get to the story, dude. So I'm trying to get to it quick. But hey, Don says Colonel Smith down here on the river in Arton. But yeah, man. So I'm planning on going up there actually, right there by you in Gallia County. Got a lot of stuff to do. But the best part of the show is
it's live. You can chime in. Tell us where you're from, where you're watching. Tell us all that good stuff. It's always fun. It's always interesting to know. And also, if you know some information, we're definitely not the experts on this subject or any subject. So chime in. Let us know what you know.
I'm glad you said that, Jameson, because this is a subject tonight, the Hensley Settlement, or Hensley Settlement, I guess is how they pronounce it. I want to be perfectly clear that this is the first episode that we've ever done where I am 100% positive that there are several people out there that know more about this than I do, or you do.
Yeah. I don't know much about it at all.
So. Come on, man. But it's a subject that there's an active descendants group that gets together. There's an active people that go for a family reunion up there all the time. So Don says he'll buy lunch or dinner. Sounds good to me, brother. May need a place to sleep one night, but I don't know. He's an Army guy, though. I don't know if I can do that, but there's a very active descendants group, and I wanted to be perfectly clear because a few of the things that we're going to talk about in our modern climate and our modern world, some people are going to be looking at some things that we're going to say tonight as, I don't know, they might look down on it. These are very much Appalachian people, hillbillies, I guess you could say, and some people look at hillbilly as a negative a negative thing. I look at it as a badge of pride.
Thing. Yeah, pride thing. Yeah. Well,
this is my people and yours too, isn't
it? Yeah, and that's one thing. A stereotypical, I think, what would be a way, you get the hillbilly stereotype, and that's not always the case. And I'm cool if anybody calls me a hillbilly. So like you said, badge of honor.
Yeah, because if you look it up in encyclopedia, there's a picture of Jameson from Hillbilly. So yeah. But I wanted to be respectful in that because a few of the things we're going to talk about are some stereotypical things of that. So very respectful of the group.
Yes, and Alex watching from Independence, Kenton County, Kentucky. So thanks for watching.
Yeah, man, Kenton is becoming more and more my favorite person in history. But we'll move on to the Hensley Settlement.
Yeah. So where we get started at? How's this begin in the first place, right?
Well, it's very rural out there, and where we're talking about, if you don't know, and let me say this again, if you do know, please chime in some comments in there. Help us out with that. Tracy said someone
called you for a hillbilly.
Oh, and Tracy arrives. So, yeah, so he heard his mating call, I guess, right? Hillbilly. But yeah, we're talking about, it's about 10 miles from Cumberland Gap. So this is actually part of the Cumberland Gap Historical Park there. So many people that visit the Cumberland Gap also visit the Hensley Settlement that's up there. So it's part of it. I don't think you can get up there right now except by a shuttle bus. I know the road collapsed there about a year or two ago. So
another person, Bryce, hope everybody's having a great evening. It is. Fall is here, man. Fall is here. It's getting a little chilly. But
yeah, and Bryce has got a YouTube channel too. He's got a history channel, YouTube channel. So make sure you put that in the comments there, Bryce, so people know to go check you out, kind of thing. But the land, the story starts in 1845. Governor Owsley, which I know you've done a story about, actually gives some land to two brothers named C and R.M. Bales, about 500 acres on the top of Brush Mountain. I want to bring that up. That's relevant. 1842. Nobody lived up there until 1842.
Yeah, that is quite interesting.
That's late, right? I mean, we settled. I mean, this is 67 years after Boonesboro. This is a generation after the founding of Boonesboro.
Kentucky's been a state for 50 years almost, or around
why
that.
So late?
Well, I assume it's kind of up in the mountains a little bit. It's a little bit hard to get to.
Yeah, and the settlement was in the bluegrass region first. Then they went west. Eastern Kentucky stayed sparsely populated because it's Dabburn Mountains. It's harder to live up there, kind of thing. It's where maybe your poor folks originally immigrated to, or the late bloomers immigrated up there. My people immigrated up there, and it's amazing to think, like there's counties like Menifee County, that wasn't even founded till after the Civil War. It wasn't even. Exist.
Macquarie County wasn't founded until after 1900. I think it was 1908.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Right, and if you've ever driven through McCreary County, holy smokes! If you go east to west through there, it takes like an hour and a half, man, and it ain't like 30 miles. I mean, it's up and down and around. So the topography is insane up there. So we got a few comments there.
We do. Some people, some Hensley relations. Diana, I have Hensley sprinkled throughout my family tree. I think they are associated with the Bowling and Davis branches, but I don't know much about them.
I know some people that build family trees.
And do all that work for them, right? Charity's watching from Mount Airy. Did I say that right? North Carolina?
Yeah, Mount Airy.
Yeah.
That's Mayberry, man. That's Mayberry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. Been there.
Cool.
And she said she's originally from Logan County, West Virginia. My father is the pastor of Logan Nazarene Church. So my parents live in Logan.
Yeah. So. And we got Jason. He knows all about this place. So
love to see it, Jason. Jason, we've got to have you on the show. Jason just completed, I got it right here. Jason just completed a CD, that it's all songs of around the Wilderness Trail. The Wilderness Road there, and songs that I don't want to talk too much about it. Jason, put that link in there to your, your Facebook page and stuff like that, so people can buy that CD. These are songs that are from the area right there, historical or legends, things and stuff like that. And Jason wrote them all, so real excited.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
we got another one here. Nana 53's 2 times great grandmother was a Hensley. Alex here has some Hensley and or knows about Hensley's in Northern Kentucky. And Norris is watching from Waterford, Kentucky. Where's Waterford? I don't think I've ever heard of Waterford. Let us know what county that is. And go, Scott. I've got that CD. It's awesome. Good.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
look at there,
Jerry Williamson.
Williamson's one of our ancestors. My mom's a Williamson. All right, so I am a Williamson, or Wilson as they say it up there. So
there you go. There's Jason's link too, so you can click on that in the comments and check that out too.
Absolutely.
And there we go. We're ready. Great grandfather is Sherman Hensley,
and we're going to talk about him. You got a picture of him? Go ahead and show his photo.
A picture of Sherman here, right here. That's Sherman, correct?
There he is. Yeah, buddy. Sherman Hensley, the leader of the settlement. He seems like a guy you don't want to mess with, doesn't he?
It seems like he'd be a tough feller.
And he's a guy that a lot of people know about up in the mountains for sure. So, so anyway, we go back to the 2 brothers. They bought the land, they leased it out. Some people live up on top of that mountain. They raise cattle, livestock and such. They made some improvements, meaning they cleared the land and they built some cabins and such too. So
cool. Got to put this one up here. So we got somebody watching from the highway, traveling on. Hopefully you're not driving.
Why not, man? Just set that phone right up on the dashboard, and just motor down. Put the cruise control on and hopefully you're listening to the audio, right?
Yeah. But anyway, we got Michael, Sherman Hensley's 8th cousin. Cool.
Michael's related to everybody. So
yeah.
Look at there.
So back to where we are. Go ahead.
Well, Sherry said that he was sweet, and that's why I wanted to bring that up, because like we talked offline here, there's a lot of people that know these people. So there's a lot of people that know more about this than we do. So we're giving you the best thing there. So, but oh yeah, there's so many comments coming in there. They grew a lot of corn. I think what Jason's talking about up there. They did grow a lot of corn up there. So the height of the settlement was the 20s. During Prohibition, so kind of thing. So.
No, it was for cornbread, man. It was for cornbread.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Right.
That's right.
So. We got Norris Washington, Spencer County, Kentucky. Okay,
yeah, we've done some work there. Appreciate you, Norris. Norris, by the way, I don't know if you saw our Spencer County video that's out, and over the next 4 weeks or so, you're going to see a ton of Spencer County history come up across our page there. But all right.
So these brothers, they got the land, right?
Yep. And in 1903, I don't think you and I have done a story that has been in the 1900s yet, have we?
Goebel, but that was like right on the verge of 1900s.
Yeah, right about the
just
same
around
time.
that time. So that would be probably the earliest one or the latest one we've done, honestly. So.
Yet in 1903, Burton Hensley purchases about 2,000 acres of land, which includes the 500 acres there on the top there of Brush Mountain. Mm-hmm. And, he broke it up into sections for his family members and things. So, and during that same time, so that's 1903, about 1902, a fellow by the name of and I'm going to botch his name. I'm pretty good on the biblical names. How about you?
Biblical names, I do okay. You want me to give this one a shot?
Yeah.
And we're talking about the nephew here. Is that
Yeah.
who you said? Oh, Joseph. Joseph.
Yeah, it's kind of like Joseph and Joshua kind of together there.
Yeah,
Joseph. So his nephew was already leasing some of that land and living up there. So he is technically the first Hensley that lived at the Hensley Settlement.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next year, our main man, Sherman, who we showed a picture of there a second ago.
I'll put it back up there, but keep going.
Yeah, go ahead. Put him up here.
Yeah,
Sherman. He's a spry young man. I forget when he was born. I think he was born in 1889. He's about 22 years old when he comes up there. He marries a lady and then moves up on top of the mountain and starts the settlement up there. The next year, and then can you put that chart up there for a second?
right here, this one.
Yes. Now that is very rudimentary. That's it's a very rudimentary, very makeshift family tree that I made that myself to figure out who all these people are. It's something that we learned at Boston University. Right there. There's my genealogy skills from Boston University in a nutshell right there. But notice the numbers mean the generations that are on there. And we'll refer back to this a couple of times. But Lewis Hensley was the first Hensley in Kentucky. Then there was Samuel. Then there was Washington. And then almost all the people that were from the Hensley settlement were descendants of Washington Hensley. Notice Group 4. Mm-hmm. Group 4, that's that generation. You see Burton and James Madison Hensley. Over on the right side, they're all Group 4. Those are also children of Washington Hensley.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What is the chart on the right side? So that's all children as well.
Yes, and the reason why I added those to that is notice the names. There's another Washington, Nicey, another Nicey. There's another Joseph
Henry.
Yeah, these are repetitive names, and when you do mountain genealogy, for sure, well, anybody's genealogy, the names are repetitive for sure, and you go cross-eyed. But especially mountain genealogy, that's the way it looks like there. So you can take that off for now. But so Sherman moves up on the mountain, and he married his dad's brother's daughter.
Yep.
What relation is your dad's brother's daughter?
Your first cousin, I believe.
Literally.
Yeah.
No removes or no seconds or any of that kind of stuff. People laugh and joke about that. I've seen a whole lot of memes about Kentucky that has some stuff like that. But let me tell you the truth. From doing genealogy from people all over this country, that is a very, very common thing.
Yep.
Especially in the 1800s and going further back. So
yeah. Well, it's kind of the way it was, I guess. Or way things went. We do have some comments. Yeah. Diane said, I just checked. One Hensley married a Bowling, one married a Davis, and another married a David son. One of them was born in Leslie, Kentucky, another born in Virginia. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, well, Leslie County, is very close to the Virginia border there for sure. So,
Scott says their family trees would be easy to do. Easy, Scott.
Come on, man. So
Nana says, yeah, it was very common everywhere. It's very true.
You're daggone right, man. You are so right there. It's a stereotype that we have here in Appalachia. Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, Virginia, North Georgia. Alabama definitely. They keep doing it in Alabama. But you had to marry who's around you, kind of thing. And when you've got a ton of kids and stuff like that, it was very, very, very common. So yes, he did marry his first cousin. Moving right along. So, but remember we talked about Burton. He bought the land. His nephew Josephua, and somebody needs to correct us.
That's a rough one. That's a real rough. I mean,
Josephua, nephew's living on the land. His other nephew is Sherman. who married his daughter, moves up on the mountain, kind of thing. Yeah. Can you show the chart again?
Okay.
Okay. So you see Burton, his daughter was Nicey Ann, who married Sherman, James Madison's son.
Yeah.
Also, children is Albert and Andrew Jackson, who went by Jack, or old Jack Hensley. He had a son named Bert Hensley.
Mm-hmm.
And a daughter named Nancy Hensley, who married Willie Gibbons. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. So that is also some cousins marrying there, kind of thing. So, but you can click off of that for now.
All right.
The reason I bring that up is Willie is actually older than Sherman, and they move up on top of the mountain, and Willie and Sherman become basically the leaders of the Hensley settlement. Basically, everybody from then on is descended from them too, kind of thing. And they're the ones that lead the family. They're the ones that own the most cattle and own the most hogs and things like that too. So, now I wanted to say, some people wonder if the Hensley settlement they wanted to get off the grid, but no, not really. They just living up on the mountain, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We got some more comments here. Ancestor Stalker says royals did it, preserving the bloodline. That's very true. Back in the old, I think, what is it, like at one point, the kings and queens of Spain, England, Germany, and all that stuff were all basically first cousins.
And absolutely. So it's incredibly common. We joke about it today, but I'd be really surprised if you didn't have a ton of them in your own family. So
yeah, some of the comments are quite quite entertaining. I'm trying to keep it together.
I'm seeing some of them you're not putting on there. Michael said Wayne County, West Virginia was the worst for marrying cousins. Are you kidding me, dude? You know how many, like a quarter of my family trees from Wayne County, West Virginia, man. But whatever, hey, whatever, man. But absolutely. So, and we're getting off topic here so much. I'm trying to stay on topic.
It's okay. It's okay. Keep it together.
But so the population averages. Yep. Go ahead.
You talked onto the Gibbons part. Willie Gibbons. Yeah,
Willie Gibbons moved up there, and then the population averages at about 65. It peaks, and
that's a lot, though. I mean, that's a lot when you really think about it. I mean, up in that one area, 65 is so cool. I mean, think of like a small town during that time. 65 people up there would be.
Well, what I want you to envision what the Hensley settlement would be, or the Hensley. They even call it the community of Hensley. These little areas that you see when you're driving on your GPS, and it'll have a little map dot. You're like, what the heck? There's nothing here. There's just a few houses. There's a crossroads, and they're calling this the community of. And there's nothing there. That's what this was. At one time, there was a group of population that lived together, and maybe been a store and things like that. What makes the Hensley settlement unique is that they were self-sustaining.
Yeah, that is pretty neat to think they could do it all right there. They had everything they needed, right? I mean,
yeah, they had a grist mill. They had they had their own
works.
Their own blacksmith shop there, kind of thing. They didn't have to leave the mountain, and there was no cars that came up and down there. If you wanted to leave from the settlement, you had to walk or ride a horse to come down off the mountain. And they did do that. I don't want people to think that these people were separatists, that they were living as a cult or something like that out there. They weren't. Yeah. But they stayed away. They had no running water. They have no electricity on it, and we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. But
well, that's okay. And Scott brought up what year was this? So, I mean, this settlement. I mean, we're looking at 1920s. Well, cars were invented, and I mean that stuff was
1903, but it went to 1951 was the end of it. But so but the height of it was the 20s.
Yeah,
Some people say there was as many as 200 people that lived there at times.
Yeah. Well, and my question would be, could anybody just like go up there and start living, or did you have to be? Was it like you're part of the family? This is where you live, or
well, anybody could live up there, but it only had so many acres up there, so you were pretty much family that lived up that mountain. So this is a good 40 years. So.
Here, posted a little comment here. Hold on. They walked to Rose Hill to buy sugar. They just, whether a boy was a man or on, not depending on how much they could carry up the mountains.
What did they need sugar for?
Well, to make things.
What were they making with that sugar? Corn liquor, yeah. That's the answer there, kind of thing. So, yeah, mash, Jason says, yeah. So, yeah, right. This is definitely the stereotypical backcountry people. And there's a whole lot of, I wanted to say, too, that this Hensley Settlement we're talking about, there is a ton, yeah. There is a.
Keep going, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
Oh, okay.
There. So,
there's a ton of descendants. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, no, there's a ton of people that, there's a ton of communities in Appalachia that are just like this Hensley Settlement. What makes it unique is that it was very, very preserved, and it was all there, and it was National Park System, which we're getting ahead here. But that's the beauty of this settlement. There is that it is something that it's a snapshot in time. I'm trying to read that comment there, Ron. You're probably not going to be able to put that
on. I can read it real quick if you want to. I think the name you have written in the Hensley genealogy should be Josephus instead of Josephus. Sherman, my great-grandfather, was born in 1881, not 1889. There was no such thing as the grid in 1903, but in southeastern Kentucky, people were just looking for a place to start a family. Exactly. Grandpa Burton Hensley gave my grandmother, Nicey Hensley, 36 acres on the mountain, and she and my grandfather Sherman simply went there to have a family and make a way for themselves. Exactly. That's what you were getting at there, I believe.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I appreciate that, Ronnie, because like I said, that there's people that are out there that are very descended from them. So, I appreciate that comment, Ronnie, because this is his family that we're talking about. We're literally talking about his folks. And you're right. They weren't trying to get off the grid per se, as in, I'm tired of living like this. They're not a cult. They're not the Amish. They're not something like that. They were just living like that. And I'm going to sum that up in the end, but,
hey, we got a pronunciation here. Josephus.
There you go.
So,
thanks. Appreciate that. I'm glad, because as people watch this in the future, they'll have the proper pronunciation. Remember, we said in the beginning, we're not experts on the Hensley Settlement kind of thing, but we wanted to bring it to light. We're about halfway through. Should we do our quick commercial break real quick?
Yeah, let's take one. And we got a video here from Kentucky History Channel about William Whitley, who was another man, came from Virginia to Kentucky, one of the first big settlers here, and kind of going someplace to start a family, just like the Hensleys were. But right here in Crab Orchard, right where I'm from, so pretty good information. We'll start with that one, and then we'll.
Yeah, real quick. It's just 3 minutes. We'll see you on the other side. 3 minutes.
All right, stick around. William Whitley. Born in 1749 in Augusta County, Virginia, he was a son of Irish immigrants, Solomon Whitley and Elizabeth Barnett, who moved to America from Northern Ireland. Now, William came over through the Wilderness Trail with Benjamin Logan, and at times stayed at Fort Logan, and began to build his own station near Crab Orchard, Kentucky, off of Cedar Creek. And I say a station because it wasn't a fort. It was hardly up to standards of a fort at all. He planted his crop, and then he returned to Virginia and came back with his wife and his 2 daughters. While his house was being constructed, his family stayed at Fort Harrod, where they had their 3rd child. From 1782 to 1786, the first brick house was built west of the Appalachian, and this was William Whitley's house. It was a Federalist type house, and Joseph Lewis built the house. This house was constructed to be able to withstand Indian attacks. It had hidden ceilings, pocket holes where people could stick their rifles out and fire at Native Americans if they were attacking. But William himself was a high society man, really loved to entertain, and he participated in many sports: fox hunting, trapping, fishing, all sorts of activities. Now, him and his wife Esther had 11 children, and Esther was also known to be a very good shot. But in 1813, William was killed in the Battle of the Thames. And a quick side note here is he was also rumored to have killed Shawnee Chief Tecumseh. I bring it up as a rumor is because the account that is given that he killed Tecumseh is from his daughter, and there's also other people who are rumored to have killed Tecumseh.
This house was built by a man known as the first entrepreneur to take a load of goods down the Ohio and Mississippi rivers on a flatboat from Pennsylvania to New Orleans. He invented the flatboat. Hey everybody, this is Colonel Carson with Family Tree Nuts, and I'm in front of this historic house here outside of Taylorsville in Spencer County, Kentucky. And by the way, if you like these types of videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that little bell so you get notifications when we post new videos. Today I've got a special guest with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Bonnie Downs, and I'm a member of the Taylorsville Spencer County Tourism Commission.
So what's the story with this historic house and the flatboat and things?
This house was built by Jacob Yoder about 1806 and known as Beachland until his death. It is a 2-story, 13-room house that was built of bricks that were kilned here on the premises.
Wow, so they made the bricks right here at this house, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And I'd like to also point out another feature of the house. There is a limestone apron that surrounds the house.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And they also have an outdoor kitchen.
All right, History Nuts people, you guys saw that first. That video that you just saw is a little snapshot of a video that premieres on Saturday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's a pretty long video, and there is a ton of cool shots of that place. The guy invented the flatboat, man. You know what a flatboat is?
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a boat that's flat.
Right. Huge part of our economy. And he's the first guy to take it all the way down from Pittsburgh down the Ohio, down to Mississippi, and sell his goods for a profit, which changed the economy of Kentucky. But yeah, that video premieres. Last week we were in Spencer County shooting. We've got a ton of videos that are coming out about that. So, and then William Whitley, one of our favorite guys, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good. He's a good one. Very interesting guy. Do what?
Before we jump back into it, you better read that comment.
For the big one?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if there's any bad words in there or not, but
I think we're probably good. Okay, let's see. All right, Hensley Settlement. Sherman Hensley moved his family in 1904 to have a peaceful place to live and raise a lot of corn. He said town made him fidget like a little boy in church. He'd find freedom on Brush Mountain before the crowds and dust got worse. No road, no houses, or other folks to see. They had what they could carry on a trail between the trees up on Hensley Settlement. They tried to be content, but it's hard to make a living all alone raising crops and children. Their primary jobs. Raising crops and children were their primary jobs. They rode the babies in their beds like kernels on a cob. But as the youngins grew up, they had questions about the world down in town. Let me see. Keep going here. Down in town, there were movie shows, dance halls, and fancy girls. Kids sat on the cliffs and watched the bright lights beam they'd go to bed and sleep all night with the future in their dreams up on Hensley Settlement. They tried they tried hold on, they tried to be content, but it's hard to make it living all alone. They followed their wives, and they followed the mines. They all climbed down, or they died, till Sherman was by himself in 51. He just sat and watched the setting sun up on Hensley Settlement. They tried to be content, but it's hard to make it living all alone. Words and alone. Oh, all alone. Oh, sorry. I kind of thought this was a poem of some sort. Words and music by Jason Davis and James Hamilton at Between the Trees Music.
Wow. Yeah, see, there you go.
That's pretty good. That's real good.
That's what I was telling you about that album. You got to check that out.
Yeah.
Jason, we got to get that scheduled. Bring you on here for a show on that. But
that's really good.
It really is. It really, really is. So, yeah, man, appreciate that. Lyrics to the album there. So, get more comments coming in there.
Yeah, we do. We got let's see, old man Winter. Nido House, anxious to see Saturday episode. Jason said that's lyrics to song on album. Yeah, that's a good one. Sue here. There are some great interviews on the KentuckyOralHistory.org side of the Hensley Settlement. Yeah, they got that's pretty good.
There's literally recordings that you can listen to. The people that live there. It's awesome stuff.
Tony says I'm seeing no comments. I don't really know. On Facebook, sometimes you got to tap it on Facebook and the comments will show back up, but or swipe one way or the other. I'm not really for sure. I'm not sure on that. Ancestor Stalker says, I read where the county provided a teacher to the settlements. Beat us to it, I believe, right? Based on the tales, a few things about how it was, size, need.
Does Ancestor Stalker have our notes? Because that's literally
I think so.
Talking about,
you want to go ahead and show that?
Leading right on to it there. In 1908, the Bell County school system did provide a teacher, but they had to have a place to have the school. And there's basically 4 schools that were up on the mountain during that time. The first, it started out as basically a lean-to, and just to have something there and meet the qualifications. But eventually they had their own cabin and schoolhouse. It's there now. And
show the picture of the cabin.
Yeah.
The schoolhouse. Right.
Nope.
That is nope. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There's the schoolhouse. There we go.
Yeah, that's where you went to school like that, didn't you?
Pretty much, No.
Potbelly stove in the middle there, iron desk.
I believe you're older.
Yeah, a little bit there, but yeah, man. So, it's the traditional one-room schoolhouse, looks like Little House on the Prairie to me, kind of thing. But the 4 different schools, there was the Chimney Rock School, then there was the Chadwell's Gap School, and then the Brush Mountain School number 1, and then Brush Mountain School number 2. So it's interesting that the Hensley Settlement was a big enough area that they could. The school wasn't just for the kids that lived there. It was for the kids that lived spread out in the area there, kind of thing. And I'm going to say that again. This is not a separatist group, that's living up there on the side of the mountain. There's people living all over Appalachia, just like these people are. And that's what makes it so cool. And I don't want to get to the summary there and then the end there, but so yeah. And, they had a grist mill right there on the property, for common use. And let's see. Well, look at her.
My mother, Cheryl Hensley, got her education there on Hensley Settlement. Wow. Awesome.
There you go. So yeah, this is not something we talk about stuff usually in the 1700s, early 1800s. This is stuff that people can relate to literally today, but that's why we're talking about it, because this is a blending of time periods, kind of thing. This is when things changed. Mark Twain said that when he dies, he wants to die in Kentucky because everything happens 20 years later. So, living up in the mountains, things happened a whole lot later there. These people, the way that these people were living and things. So, the cabins were moderately furnished, but they did have, some of the people had radios, but that are battery powered because they had no electricity. and they had the old what's that thing called, the Victrola, the record player, you crank out those kind of thing. But that would have been about the biggest modern conveniences that they had, is having a record player or a radio. You notice on the 1930 census, they list how many houses have radios. It's an interesting thing.
Well, that's pretty, yeah.
It's a way to mass communicate to the population.
Yeah, well, you think about it, like, I don't know, people may not be familiar with you. Some probably are, but whenever you fill out your kids' school stuff, they ask you, "Do you have internet access?" You don't think about it as in 100 years ago. They asked, "Do you have a radio?"
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so what made them unique though is that they were self-sustaining. They raised their own food. Most of what they raised was for their own. Like they weren't like buying things at the store very often. They did raise sheep and got wool and did sell some stuff, but they had an orchard there. They had they raised all kinds of different crops. Main thing was corn, soybeans, any vegetable you can imagine. But what's cool about it is how they all were. They lived amongst each other, and they were cousins, usually, and a big, huge, large family group. So they all kind of pitched in a communal effort, to make these things happen.
Yeah. So what next though? How long did this last?
Well, like I said, the height was in the 1920s, and but when we get to about World War II time period is when a lot of the youngsters that, like Jason was talking about, those city lights come a calling. World War II happened. A lot of the guys joined the military to serve, and other kids moved off the mountain to go work in coal mines and such. I mean, the settlement was limited by the amount of acreage they had there. It's why we moved west in general as a people. You had to have so many acres to raise enough food to feed yourself. And as there's more and more people there, they had to eventually leave the mountain, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's kind of how it went. Like the song, while I was reading that song, I was thinking that is exactly how it went. I mean, they start to dream of the older, or dream of what's below them or what's going on around them, and people left. Mike says, you guys do know that in the late 1700s, before statehood, the whole state of Kentucky was a county. Yes.
Do you know that,
Lincoln? James? I knew. I would hope so. And then we got a lot. He's got a lot. He's burning up a whole bunch. Yeah, man, we got a podcast about all this stuff.
Yes, sir. He's talking about the formation of Kentucky and the different counties when they started and such. Yeah, we've got definitely the Kentucky History Podcast. You've covered that stuff in mass detail, kind of thing. So check that out, Mike, and appreciate you and giving us that information there. But in 1948, 77-year-old Willie Gibbons came off the mountain, and he moved to what was it, Brownies Creek there. I think it's in Harlan County. He finally came off the mountain, and that left old Sherman up there, by himself. And he lived there till 1951. Basically, people died off or moved off, and Sherman was the last man standing up on top there, and he was only 70 years old when I say only, but and he sold the land to the Cumberland Gap National Historic Park, and moved off the mountain. And he didn't pass away until, when did he die, Jameson?
What was it, the 60s, or did he make it the 70s? 79 was it?
Yeah, 79. I was 3, so I existed when Sherman existed. Cool. So this isn't that far back. We're talking about primitive living, like no running water, no electricity, living like we used to live for hundreds of years. That's how they were living. And this is a fellow that passed away in my lifetime. So this isn't that far back. So
yeah, and it is. I mean, it's a little sad though to think that he kind of built the place. His family was there. His family thrived there, but then slowly everybody left, and then eventually he leaves as well too. I mean, it's kind of a sad story when you Think of it. Think of the ending of it, I guess.
It's kind of sad, but it's unique that it lasted as long as it did. And the reason why it did last as long as it did, because it was a large family group, kind of thing. I mean, there was other there's thousands of communities like this out there, but it lasted as long as it did because it was a large family group and they all kind of chipped in to help each other.
Yeah.
And I think in 1959, the park Cumberland Gap opened it up, and then in 1965, the Job Corps started to revamp the buildings there. And I think there's 45 structures that are up there on top of that.
You mean show the map here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. So that's the map of the park.
Top of the mountain. You can visit that today. And visit the different structures that are there. So, and show a couple pictures of the settlement there.
Okay. Yeah. So
you can see kind of what it is there: wooden fences and cabins and such.
Mm-hmm. There's another one. That's that's a nice picture. Actually, that's a real nice picture.
Yeah, buddy.
Did you take that one?
Yeah.
There's a cabin.
No, those are from the Park Service, but.
And there's the inside of the school again. So
right. So you can see how these people are living. I mean, now think about your own ancestors and think about your own parents and grandparents, and they were alive during this time and what they were doing. You and I did a video at the theater there in Crab Orchard.
Yeah.
This is about the time that people were going to the movie theater there in Little Crab Orchard, and these people were living up on top of the mountain very primitively. Kind of thing. Yeah. And that pretty much sums it up, except for my closing remark I wanted to say about that is what makes the Hensley Settlement such a big deal. Number one, the Park Service bought the acreage, and preserved the buildings. There's nothing unique about the Hensley Settlement compared to the way our ancestors were living in Appalachia forever, except the fact that there's so many preserved buildings that people can see it. So we can go and see exactly how our people used to live, so that's what makes it unique. But it is, like you said, it is sad that was such a, think about that, 40 years or so, there was such a community up there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's, time and progress, those kind of things happen. But for a brief time, that was there and kind of preserved that time period, or those moments of, we keep saying living off the grid, but let's say like living independently.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Yeah. Didn't need anything. Oftentimes, I think like what would it take to just be self-sufficient? I mean, that's what he was. That's what they were. They were able to kind of, thrive on their own, be a little community there.
I'm jealous of them, Jameson.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of the people that lived on the Hensley Settlement. I really am, because their lives were hard. They had to work sun up, sun down, milk the cows for, a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the evening, work all daggone day, but they weren't worried about car insurance and, and
their lives were peaceful. Peaceful, right. Probably a lot more peaceful than ours can be at times.
If they felt like going fishing, they went fishing, kind of thing. Yeah. They didn't have to take time off, get a vacation day to go do that. There's a lot of freedom in the way that they lived, and to me, it's kind of a romantic lifestyle, and I'm jealous of them.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Well, we got a few. Jason said it's also remote. That's a very very thing important. Do you know where Sherman Hensley is buried?
Don't.
Nope. Yeah, I don't either.
Cheryl says I'm sure it ain't gonna be hard. I don't know if he's buried on the mountain. There's a cemetery on the mountain. I don't know. I think he's buried there, but I'm very much making an assumption.
Sherry says, wish they would restore the Sherman's house. So that'd be nice. Ronnie says, I remember my dad helping Grandpa Sherman Hensley move off the mountain in 1951. I was 7 years old. He hauled the belongings in a sled and came off Chadwell Gap to Kaler, Virginia. Grandpa lived there until he died in 1970. Wow, I mean, look, Look, I mean, that's you should talk about. I mean, this is still kind of relevant. I mean, we have a direct descendant here, so
took his belongings off the mountain in a sled.
I mean,
in '79.
Yep.
Cool.
Michelle says Brownie Creek is just at the bottom of Brush Mountain, still in Bell County. Brownie's Creek, original spelling, she's got it right there, was what the first people exploring and hunting the area called it due to the many brownies roaming along the creek. Brownies being...
The rest of it says being strange brown animals.
Bryson. Okay, I was reading it off the screen.
You are from Rock Castle, and I've read some of the maps, the old maps from Rock Castle. But yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we got some more. Cemetery is on the mountain.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's buried in a cemetery on the mountain.
And you
cow insurance.
Yeah, yeah, right. And you can go visit these places. And I'm somewhat embarrassed to say I've never been there. I've been to the Cumberland Gap, I don't know, 30 times. I visited there and done things there, but I haven't been up to the Hensley Settlement. But I'm told that the road is out, and the only way to get up there is with a shuttle bus from the office there at the park for tours. I think they expire at the end of October. I think they're March through October, maybe. So some people probably would know better than me on that one. Oh,
hold on, there we go. The from Jason, the Chadwell Gap Trail is on the Virginia side of the mountain, and you can go through the Kaler community just west of Ewing.
Yeah, Ewing. So yeah, it's a wonderful place. It's a place, if you want to know how your ancestors really lived, you can check it out. I mean, they've got how these people, they had corn cribs, and they had orchard there. They had outhouse. They had the hogs that just ran wild, and they each family marked the years with their own little mark to identify them. I mean, it was, I love, you said, talk about the bright lights, people left and went and left the mountain, but I'm sure it was always home. And I know they have a family reunion up there every year too. I think it's in August, if I'm not mistaken. People can do that. So there's, like I say, I really appreciate so many people making comments about this, because we were a little bit nervous to do this, because this is people's family, literally many people today's family members. So we wanted to make sure that we honored and respected them and told the story correctly. So.
Yes. Nana says, great show, and I was really glad Jason was online. Yeah, us too. He had plenty of good information, and we appreciate sharing it.
I got a question for you, Jameson.
Yeah.
Would you move your family up to the Hensley Settlement tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't know. I just got to stay close to Rock Castle and Crab Orchard. I can't.
Would you move your family to a place like the Hensley Settlement?
Well, I don't know. I'm not the best outdoorsman.
I would. I would do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my family would not go with me. So I'm stuck, because I live in that world every day. I live in that world, kind of thing in my head.
And a lot of people is agreeing with you. Nana says she would. Ancestral stalker in a heartbeat. Now, I will tell you this: we go my class every year, well, except the past 2 years, we go to Pine Mountain Settlement School, and it's up there near Harlan and all that. And I mean, it is peaceful, man. It is one of the best trips any school can do, but one of the best trips that we can do. And like, it's just out. It's on a mountain. There's really no one around. Peaceful. It's peaceful. Yeah, it's a good kind of living, right?
Yeah, I'm jealous of it. I really am. You get sick, you raise your, you got your medicines out in the forest, and you gather. So, I live in that world. My mother-in-law told me the other day, "What do you mean you don't know about this? You've got to watch the news." I said, "I live in the past every day." That's all, kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
All right, brother. So, anything else you want to say about the Hensley Settlement?
It's pretty amazing story. I really like it. Our school in Danville goes to Pine Mountain too. Yeah, yeah. Crab Orchard. Well, hey, they always say, I'll tell you this, and this is just a side note. Whenever we go, they always talk about how much they love when us country schools go up there, because our kids don't care to get in the creek. They don't care to, interact with the wildlife. They're all about it. It's a great trip. Something else if somebody want to do it. It's another, man. It's a story we ought to talk about too. The whole Creech family, all this stuff. We're getting off topic, but anyway, Hensley Settlement, awesome story.
Yeah, Don Smith said he still has family living like that, and he's right. Yeah, I've seen it with my own eyes. Kind of thing of family that there's still people that live, no water and electricity and stuff, but.
Alex says every day I live in 1770s.
There you go. He's a patriot.
That's pretty good.
Time to be a patriot. That's for sure. So, all right, brother. So I guess we'll head off for now and see you next week, right?
Yeah. Hey, follow us on the Facebook, YouTube, subscribe to the channels. 50 away, just 50 more. So
yeah, buddy. Please do that. Please check it out. Subscribe to that for sure. And hey guys, he said next to GRC. We got a lot of GRC on our YouTube channel. But anyway, we'll take off for now. Hey, remember, family tree nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.